I sit like this, I look naked. If I sit like this, I don't look naked. We're gonna stay like this, y'all, I think. This is good. Whoa! What's this? What's this muscle? What the Hulk? What the f— Hey guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Logan Taylor, and today I'm going to be doing a little bit of a different type of video than I usually do. The story that I want to tell you guys is about when I was 19 years old, and one summer I just decided to drop everything and go out of the country for the first time by myself for a month. So at this point in time in my life, when I was 19 years old, I had just finished my second year of college and graduated with my associate's degree. Probably like a lot of people my age, I was freaking out about what I was going to do with my life, where I was going, was I taking the right steps, like all of the normal things that 19-year-olds worry about. In the process of this, I just really felt like everything was kind of crashing down on me, not to go into detail of a lot of other things going on at the time. I just kind of decided I needed to get away, and I needed to get away for a while, and for some reason, I really felt like I had to do it by myself. So that night I went home and I was like researching everything I could. How do I volunteer somewhere? What are programs that I can do to travel with? I was like, man, what if I found a program that I could volunteer through, and on top of it all, it would get me away. I could be helpful and do something helpful for myself at the same time. So in my research, I found this program called IVHQ. It's the International Volunteer Headquarters, and they seemed like they had a lot of really great prices. It looked like there was a lot of structure and so many options. And so from the day that I decided that this is something that I wanted to do, from that point on, it took me only 2 weeks to decide what program I was going to use, where I was gonna go, and then at the end of that 2 weeks, I bought my tickets and I was going to be heading to Cusco, Peru, only 2 weeks after that. When I went through the process of booking, what I decided I was going to do is I was going to show up to Cusco, Peru, and I was going to volunteer in an orphanage for 2 weeks, and then I was going to travel and hike for the remaining 2 weeks. So if I can be completely frank about my choice of Peru, a lot of it came down to money. Peru and pretty much anywhere in South America and Central America were the most cheap options for me, and I truly wasn't picky about where I was going to go. I just wanted to go somewhere. Hear me out, guys. In order to book the cheapest flight possible, I booked some awful layovers. So my first layover was in Bogota, Colombia, and it was going to be a 24-hour long layover. Me being me at the time, I was like, who cares? About 5 hours into my 24-hour layover, I decided that I would have spent an extra $100 then and there to never have to think about doing that again. After trying so hard to sleep, and it was impossible, I get back on a plane and I'm headed to Lima, Peru. And so I get to Lima, where I have an additional 9-hour layover. The next day I show up in Peru. Yay! My volunteer program told me that somebody was going to be there waiting for me. And so I get off the plane and I'm looking around and I see this guy standing there, and he has this tiny little cardboard sign and it just says Logan on it. And I was like, that's me. I'm Logan. And so I get in his car, and then all of a sudden, the dude is going like 80 miles an hour, swerving through everybody. The road signs are like maybe non-existent. Everybody's cars are like this close together, and I was like, great, I made it all the way here just so I could die in a car accident. But it turns out that's how literally everybody there drives, and they do it well. Like, they manage it very well because I didn't die. The first thing I noticed when I got there were the mountains. It was absolutely stunning. I couldn't even believe it. I had seen pictures, but pictures could never do justice how beautiful the landscape was there. It was absolutely gorgeous. So the man drops me off at my homestay and I'm standing there. And of course I'm nervous like anybody else. Sit. Pick where you're going, bud. Mac. Okay, so I got to my homestay and I was obviously pretty nervous. And so I walked into my homestay and there were a couple of other people staying with me. People who I think I would now call pretty good friends. I walked in and immediately everyone in that house was so nice. So about 2 days after I showed up, I was getting used to the altitude. The altitude is absolutely insane in Peru. You walk like 4 feet and you're already out of breath. So I gave myself a couple of days to get used to the altitude, get my sleep back on track, etc. And then I started my volunteer placement. My placement ended up being in an orphanage or specializing kids who were abused. And so there were a lot of very specific rules about not being able to bring a camera that in, and so I won't have any photo or video of anything with that. Not that that was something that I was interested in having in the first place. So I spent my first 2 weeks volunteering here, and it was amazing. The language barrier was absolutely there, but usually for the younger kids it wasn't that big of an issue. I just had to know how to say stop, please no, stop hitting me, you know, all the good stuff. And I had the opportunity to talk to and socialize with a lot of people that came from really hard backgrounds, and it was a really amazing thing for sure. So after that 2 weeks came the 2 weeks where I would be traveling. So my first little kind of adventure that I took was I would be four-wheeling through the mountains and seeing the salt mines and etc. For my second trek that I took, this one was also just a one-day trek, but it was a little bit more extensive. I hiked Rainbow Mountain, and let me tell you, that was the hardest thing I have ever done in my entire life. My friend that I had been hiking with at the time, we actually had to mutually decide once we got to the first peak that we were not going to go to the second peak because I was going to vomit everywhere. But it was a really weird experience because it was hot and I was getting sunburnt, but it was snowing. Do I understand? No. And so after that trek, I went back to my homestay for a little bit. And during this time, a couple of my fears of traveling alone started to kind of come true. I was in a cab on my way back, and I guess not paying a lot of attention. And the next day I got up and I was looking for my wallet. My wallet was nowhere. Inside my wallet was my driver's license, the copies of my passport, not my real passport, $300 US cash, 200 Peruvian soles, and among many other things, my debit card, which I was using to take cash out, and all of that really exciting stuff that I definitely needed for the remaining 2 weeks. Of course, what did I do? I cried for a couple of hours, and then I decided that I needed to not cry and I needed to not let that ruin my trip because I had to be there for another 2 weeks no matter what, and I still had my passport. So, you know, money can be replaced, but if I was gonna ruin the rest of my time there over that, it just wasn't going to be worth it. Able to pretty easily transfer money from my account into some of my friends' accounts there, and they were able to withdraw money for me, and everything turned out okay. So the next day, I was getting ready to do my week-long Machu Picchu hike. This was what I was so excited about. I was so ready for it. And so me and my friend, we were walking down the street, and I felt something in like my pocket. Like I felt something weird. I realized that my phone had been pulled from my pocket. I turn around and I see a man standing there like he was actually shocked that I like felt it. It was because I had a pop socket on my phone and the pop socket snagged my pocket a little bit. And so I looked at him and he looked at me. I just reached and like slowly pulled my phone from his hands. And then I turn around and I'm just like talking to my friend Annika, and I'm like, I just got pickpocketed, but I got it back because he didn't run. And I turn around and I'm looking at the man, and another Peruvian man had grabbed his arm, slapped him across the face, and looked at me and said, "Be careful next time." So of course the day before I lost my wallet, all my money, my ID, etc. And then the day after, somebody tried to pickpocket my phone, and at that point I was just convinced like Satan's here and he's getting me. This is nothing's working. Everything is going wrong. The day after that, I packed up my stuff and left for my hike to Machu Picchu. I can't even express to you guys how life-changing this week-long hike was for me. In that week, it really tested my abilities in every sort of way. At 8,000 feet in altitude, it is the most taxing thing on your lungs, on your legs, on your mind, and it was amazing. I can't even stress how many times over and over I would do that week. The first 2 days, I hiked a lot. Like a lot. We stopped at stations. A little monkey played with my Apple Watch. I had Peruvian men on trails paint my face with like plants. 2 days later, on my 20th birthday, we were in the mountains. I was rafting the rapids in the middle of the mountains on my 20th birthday, and then the day after, I was biking 20 miles downhill on these mountains. And then finally, the last couple of days hiking till one morning at 5 a.m., I walked to the top of this mountain and it was just fog everywhere. And it was supposed to be Machu Picchu, but it was just white. And I was tired and I was looking at what was supposed to be Machu Picchu. I was like, oh, great. And so I sat on the ground for about 2 hours until the fog cleared out. And then I saw Machu Picchu. And then I teared up and I was like, this is the most beautiful thing I've ever seen in my life. In that exact moment, standing up there looking at Machu Picchu, thinking about my week away from my phone on my birthday, the adventures, the friends that I had made, I was just like, wow, this is everything that I wanted this entire month to be for me. It felt like it took 20 pounds off my shoulders. I felt so free from everything bad in life for just a very small moment. Honestly, it made all of the bad worth it for me. The day after, I was getting back in a taxi to go back to the airport, and in the taxi just kind of thinking about like, man, I called this place home for a month and I'm leaving. The big looming question is like, traveling by yourself for a month to a country that you've never been to before by yourself, was it a good idea? And the answer is, to me, absolutely. And would I do it again? Yes. A million times. Were there bads? Absolutely. There was so much that I missed and so many things that I wish I had during that time. But I think it was the exact detox I needed at that point in my life. I guess the biggest thing that it did for me was make me realize how independent I actually am, because with somebody like me, I had so many big problems feeling like I'm too dependent on people, and for me to actually pull the trigger on something like that was something that I would have never expected in a million years I would be able to do, and not something that I think I would have survived a month doing. And so it really proved a lot to me. It was something that I think changed my life for a really long time. Sometimes it kind of just feels like a dream. I guess, guys, if you're watching this video because you looked up a video about traveling by yourself, and if you are sitting there and you are just waiting for a sign that this is something you should pull the trigger on, I'm telling you to do it. This is your sign. Hi, I'm Logan, and I'm telling you to buy the tickets, take the chance, be safe, be knowledgeable, be smart about it, but do it. And I promise you that eventually your bank account will recover and that your anxieties will subside. And I promise you that if this is something that you ever decide to do, it will be life-changing for you. I can't wait to take so many more trips like this, and hopefully next time I'll have my camera along for the ride so I can give you guys a little bit more action with me talking. I wasn't about that vlog life then, but now I'm about that vlog life, you know what I mean? That was awful. But hopefully I managed to put this all together nicely for you guys. If you like these types of videos, you can tell me. If you don't like these types of videos, tell me, but be nice about it because I'm a fragile person. And all in all, thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate you guys being here. If you did like this video, please give it a thumbs up. And please, I was gonna try to point at the subscribe button. I have absolutely no idea where it is. So please subscribe. It would make me so happy. I will see you guys next time.